and I can send that back out to everybody as well, just so you have some reference. I know from Adam's first presentation that there was a lot of points and a lot of people were sending emails going, wow, I'm happy to try to jump on and make some changes here. So just a brief introduction, everybody. Thank you very much for joining us for our Lunch and Learn session on building your social media profile. For those of you that are not aware of TechConnex, TechConnex is a 39-year-old technology association that has been established as a collaborative support environment to allow our members to connect, share, learn, and grow. And we always welcome new members to join in the conversation as well. What we do is we run a series of peer groups every month that hope to provide an impactful learning experience with a strong focus on personal and professional skills development and organizational training and coaching. Our mission is to help individuals and businesses within the technology sector in Ontario become more innovative, collaborative, and successful by fostering an inclusive, diverse, and vibrant support ecosystem. Our overall focus is on connecting people to encourage inspiration and creativity in the workplace. One of the other things that we like to do is lunch and learn sessions in which it gives you an opportunity to learn something a little bit more general. It applies to everybody. It doesn't matter what role you have. And today we're really fortunate to have Adam Fox come and speak. So Adam is a senior manager who brings over, he's a senior manager at Esri Canada, who brings over 21 years of international experience to his role on large and medium scale projects and in over 15 different countries in a variety of leading technical sales and management roles. Adam's passion himself is location technology, GIS, analytics, and of course, maps. He loves working with their clients to embrace spatial technology to help them make informed decisions. Adam helps drive digital transformation with location intelligence powered by GIS. In his current role, he leads a team of over 20 enthusiastic sales, consulting, and project management professionals in the biggest region in the country's largest GIS company. When you Google Adam's name, and we talked about this before, because this is one of the points that Adam talked about, do not confuse Adam with the defenseman from the New York Rangers. So he kind of talked about making sure that you can get your name up there on the top. He's having a harder time competing, but I think he's still successful up there. We at TechConnex like to say that Adam is a social media guru. And for those of you that have joined Adam's sessions in the past, you know that you're in for a real treat. And you'll have some great and simple tools to walk away with and apply right away. For those of you that are joining right now and kind of going, oh, I see that there was a first part. What I will do is I will send a link to that one as well, because Adam offered a lot of tips on just what you should do to look at your LinkedIn profile and make some changes. And I know a lot of people on the call did make some of them. A lot of them had reached out to Adam. But at that, I'm going to turn it over to Adam right now. And just one quick thing. This is interactive. If at any point you do have a question, do one of two things. Throw it in the chat, or just come off mute and say, hey, Adam, I've got a question. So it is very interactive. Do not be shy about it. And I'm sure that if you have a question, somebody else has one as well. So at that, we're going to turn it over to Adam.
Great. Thanks very much. Thanks for the introduction. And as you said, absolutely. In terms of part two, let me just keep going. I did put a little bit of a recap together for what we did go over last week. And the good thing is, even if you didn't show up, last week, 2 weeks ago, if you didn't come to that session, obviously you can see the recording and ask any questions and things like that as we go. But more importantly, the first session was more about how to get your LinkedIn profile kind of into a more professional version, and what to do with LinkedIn versus other mediums, Facebook and Twitter and many other offerings, obviously, in the world for social selling. To me, and for what we focused on here at Esri Canada, it's mostly around LinkedIn because it is a professional, selling tool. And we do a lot of B2B and B2G kind of sales. So it's a lot of business to business. We're dealing a lot with governments. We're dealing with police authorities. We're dealing with education institutions. So for us, it's really important to connect where our people are. And just as a quick recap from last week. Number one, I want to say thank you very much for those who did reach out. Many people had some excellent questions. Some really got my brain thinking in terms of how I could help or how people at TechConnex obviously can help. One of the best ones I got actually that I've never thought of before, because I'm a little gray and a little past being a student, was an actual student reached out and said, hey, I have nothing to sell. I am not on, I'm on LinkedIn just by name only. What can I do to help myself? Kind of expand my reach, get to become a bigger thought leader in my industry. I'm second year at university. I think a gentleman was at second year at University of Western in a business program. And I thought, what an incredible opportunity for someone who's in that kind of frame of, just starting out in their career, finishing their schooling, they're about to go and get a career job and look for work. I wish I had this kind of opportunity, have something like LinkedIn. So I gave him some tips on, what to do with his profile, but also just what to do with linking, sharing, and organizing into groups and things like that. So first and foremost, I want to say thanks for reaching out. And we did talk a little about just what is social selling and how do we benefit from it. Some examples, Twitter versus LinkedIn, what the social selling index is and what to focus on for last a little bit. And the big kicker for those who are here for maybe the first time is, and to rewind and listen to the other session a little later, is to stop using LinkedIn as a resume tool for you and start using it as a sales outreach platform and how to reach your customers and where they're sitting on LinkedIn.
Sorry, Adam, I just wanted to jump in really quick because I think your mic has gone in and out a few times.
Oh, sorry. I wonder if I could.
So I just wanted to double check.
Yeah. Okay, if we're having trouble, I can call in on my cell as well. So is it okay now, or?
There, it's back, and then it kind of goes. I think it's if you move. So you have to sit as still as a statue.
Possible. Okay. Well, we'll try. If it is, please jump in again, and if so, maybe we take a 1-minute break, and I can phone in and do it that way if we have to.
Perfect.
Okay. So then the last. So the last one there was also just tips and tricks on what to do on your profile. So I'll show some things off in a few minutes, but this was one of the key takeaways that a few people commented on that really helped them. And we walked through kind of some of the things you can do to help get your profile up to date. And that is simple things like change your profile pic if you don't have a professional one, use your custom URL, get some, add more information into the about section in your title section. And again, like I mentioned, I'm happy to chat about this a little bit later on, or you can review the notes from last week. But today we're going to talk about a little bit more of how, and again, I'm using myself as my own test subject, but how we here at Esri Canada use the platform, how we use LinkedIn, and what are some of the tools we use to create some of those connections. So how do we find content? How do we post content? How do we like and contribute and comment? How do we find relevant groups? And then just the connections themselves, and how do we physically with those. So last week, I introduced you to a few new people in our organization, and these were their profile pics before we went through the last week's session. And it was typical of what I would easily say 90+% of the people. Great background, a nice picture, and they have basically their title on there. And I thought this was interesting after just one or 2 days working through it. To me, when I look at from a professional social selling standpoint, the people on the right are much more engaging. It tells them exactly what they do from an example of what they do with our company. Same picture, let's be honest, it's the exact same picture that they used before, but you can tell that they've actually put some effort into the profile. And if I was to go on to that profile.
Adam, maybe what we could do, could we get you maybe to call in?
Oh, sure. Is it going back?
Yeah,
okay.
It just keeps going back and forth, and then this way.
Give me just 2 seconds. I'm just going to unshare, and I'll join right back in 2 seconds.
Thanks for bearing with us. We just want to make sure that you hear Adam's voice. At the same time, I have been going through and making sure that everybody is on mute. So if you can just double check that you're on mute yourself, and then we hear Adam. And if you've got any questions, just jump off and ask them.
Hi there. Can you hear me okay now?
That's perfect, Adam.
Okay, great. So sorry about that. Everyone is now back on old technology called iPhone here. Very good. Okay, I'm just going to put my other headset in so I can hear you guys properly. There we go. So as you can see, definitely a big change in their profile from, from what we've done over literally, a couple of days of working with our guys here, some of our new account managers and new industry managers here at Esri. So when we get into the details of kind of why do we post content, one of the biggest things that I always promote, again, on the first session, we would have talked about a little bit about my background, and I know we just jumped right into it today, but, I am not a marketer. I am not I don't consider myself a social media, guru per se, but we use this as a tool in our organization on how do we become experts and thought leaders in our field. And that is the number one reason why we are posting content. We're using it also to spark conversation and engage with our clients. And I like this a lot. It allows you to point your clients to posts as well. I know a lot of our account managers say, well, I just posted something on that the other day. Why don't you go here? And they'll send them a link or something like that, little piece of information. It allows us to share and educate, to our clients well before the buying process or during the buying process while we're engaged with them. This is one of my absolute favorite things to do on within social selling and LinkedIn is promoting our clients. And anyone who either follows me or sees some of the content that I promote, you'll notice that I try and promote as much as possible. I am always on the lookout for things that I can brag about our clients. To me, it's a very soft sell. Instead of me saying, come buy our product, it's the best product in the world, it's cheap, and it has these 5 really cool things. Instead, I use it as an example of go and see what the city of Kitchener is doing, go and see what, the Toronto Police Service is doing, things like that. And just by association, the fact that I'm putting that post out there and I'm openly bragging about our clients, people know obviously there might be, an Esri piece to it, but it allows them to see the business benefit as well of what our clients are doing with our applications. I will tell you a side benefit of posting content is warding off your competitors. And this is a very interesting. Now, I know not everyone's in the same kind of stay that Esri Canada is. Esri Canada, for people who don't know, we're a GIS and a mapping company, a technology company, and location analytics. And I will say we are the market leader in our space, which is a really great market presence to be in. But I do know that our competitors are watching what we post. And I do know that our competitors are watching clients that we post about. And I have heard firsthand while we've interviewed some people who have come on and said, I've asked them flat out because it's very important to me, what do you do in social selling? And I have had some new account managers who have come on from our competition who have said, I don't do anything here because you guys do too much. You at Esri Canada are doing so much. You're bragging about your customers so much that it actually is not good for us to post because it shows that we only have, let's say, 1 or 2 clients and you're posting about 1,000 clients. So to us, depending on your stay in the market and kind of what you do in your business and your product and your services, this is a big deal. And I don't take it lightly in terms of, I know flat well that our competitors are watching what we post and how we post about it. And obviously I'm not going to post things like, oh, we just won the big RFP at the city of XYZ. I'm not going to post things like that. But once our product is implemented and successful and everyone's happy with it and the client's happy with it, I am all over posting details about that. And like I said, for us in Canada, it shows your market leadership. If you have a lot of people who are out there advancing your promotion material and putting things out there all the time, it shows how strong you are in the market. And as at least in our space, people want to buy from bigger companies. People want to buy from, at least in our space, they want to buy from proven leaders in the market, which is really helpful for us. And I always use this as a sales term, but an embarrassment model. I live out in Durham area, Durham region, and I'm a huge believer in talking to all of our clients about what our other clients are doing. So instead of just saying you need to buy this product or you need to buy this service, I'm a big believer in, are you seeing what the town of Whitby is doing? Town of Whitby is doing some great things along this, and this. And right away, from the embarrassment standpoint, you'll hear other leaders, CIOs or other people, at least in our space, GIS managers, you'll be around those tables and you'll say, well, how are they doing that? Why don't we have more things like that? So for me, the embarrassment model of selling is huge for us, and we push some things out there. So just some examples of how do we promote our clients. And this is some examples that I just literally stole off of my LinkedIn profile just this morning. But this is one right here. You look on the side, City of Mississauga, some incredible new dashboards and data and existing land use reports. I'm not telling anything that, it says Esri all over it. But this is what our clients are doing. And then on the other side, you'll see on the right side there with the town of Ajax, what they did. I love promoting the actual people, not just our product, obviously, and not the client. The client here is the town of Ajax. I love promoting the actual people. So we follow, obviously, our clients. And here's a great example. Chris Walker is a fantastic IT leader in Ajax. He used to be the GIS manager. Now he's the manager of IT there. And he's putting out, they did a great thing with GIS. And, we have a thing called GIS Day. Well, they turned it into GIS Week. So to me, I want to promote that. I want to make sure that we're getting that out there. And again, I have either followers and or connections from across the country and sometimes around the world, especially in the US, where they're looking at, the little tiny town of Ajax and looking at who are these guys and how come they're doing such a great job. So anytime we get the opportunity to promote our clients, we do so as much as we can.
Adam, sorry, one quick question here. Lan actually is asking, any advice for a company page in LinkedIn? So I'm just wondering whether it's maybe a little bit different from your own perspective, or whether you should change things up on a company page. And what I think what Lan is maybe asking for, I know Esri is a bigger company. A lot of the companies that we have here, it's one or two people. So
right.
Is it a different perspective, or would you maybe say, hey, do some of the similar things that you're doing here?
I would absolutely do some of the similar things. If I was CEO of, 1-2-3 company and I had 3 employees, I would take my company page and I would be turning that into very similar to what I'm saying here, promoting our clients. Obviously, if it's a product kind of or services type company, you are going to be, promoting a little bit more of your actual marketing kind of speak and things like that. But again, it's the personal connections that allow you to put content out like this is really, really important. And it's not, we at Esri, you're absolutely right. We're a larger company, 400 people. We have a marketing department. Their job is to put out content about our applications and our products. So I get the luxury, I don't have to do that. I get the luxury of just promoting our clients. But exactly this next point of, the golden rule of content sharing, they talk about you should share more content about other things and other, your industry, your clients, and promoting that, and on a 5-to-1 ratio of what you should be promoting of your own stuff. And absolutely, if you look at my feed, me personally, you will see that I am promoting Esri products or a webinar here or there or an event. Absolutely, I am. But I try and really focus more on getting more out there from an industry standpoint, from a client standpoint, things like that. So if I was a company of 3 or 4 people and I had a product or a widget or a service or whatever it is, I might change that ratio a little bit more because I'm trying to get my brand out there and I'm trying to get more awareness out about what I do. But I think more the conversation is, I'm trying to promote what I do via references, via clients, via projects, versus just coming out and saying, I have the best widget. It's the fastest, cleanest little tool, service, whatever it is. So if I can at any time find a way to bring in a client or bring in a reference, it really helps. And especially depending on different industries. Some industries are very insular and small, and they talk a lot, which is like our industry in GIS. You got to think in the municipal world, police world, government world, there's, thousands of people in Ontario who do this work, but there's not hundreds of thousands. So it's definitely different from a commercial standpoint. I mean, a B2C type environment. But if I was B2C, I'd be doing the same sort of thing. People relate to people. They want to see. Here's a great example of what we're talking about here. My mother's birthday. She lives in Peterborough. I can't see her, obviously, because of COVID and things like that. And I was searching for a gift to send to her. And I was looking at, different things to send to my mother. And I found this amazing photo frame option that it was all about. They had a persona of grandkids and grandsons and children. I mean, can't see their parents. and they want to share and promote, you know, their pictures and things like that. Now my kids are heavily into sports, and we send photos once in a while. And I saw this great ad, and it was all about how do we engage with our parents that we can't see in person right now. And I bit hard, and I bought the thing right away. But it was a persona thing. You know, that ad, you know, that it was actually on Instagram there, I found it. But that ad resonated to me because I was in that, you know, mid 40s range. My mother's up in Peterborough and, you know, 75, and I can't get to see her. And how do I, you know, what kind of gift do I get and things like that? And it really resonated with me because it was a personal message. It wasn't all about the products and the features of a photo frame that I can email pictures to. It was that personal kind of message of, you know, I miss my mom, I miss seeing my parents, and, and that sort of thing. So to me, you know, from a standpoint of content sharing, absolutely, I would focus more on what you can put out there that shows your awareness and your brand in the marketplace versus just here's our product, here's our product. To us, that's why we have a marketing department, and they do a great job at that. But it's definitely more you know, product focus and things like that versus what we do at the account level. So, you know, another piece on the content side is be timely. And I've got some examples of this in a few minutes as well. But, you know, we, especially at us at Esri, we actively look for posts or things that we can, you know, content that we can produce that is timely and in the market now. So perfect example, I'll show you in a few minutes. You know, just this morning, you know, a couple minutes actually before we joined this session, I put out a post very quickly on, you know, grid rationalization and what's happening in the U.S. With all the issues down in Texas with, you know, their networks, their electrical networks, and how, you know, of all things for us, how GIS can help with that sort of stuff. So, you know, it's a timely message, and it goes with, you know, what's going on in the world. I did put this in here, marketing with a question mark. Do you want to be a marketing bot? Do you want to be seen in your social selling presence as someone who is just, you know, regurgitating marketing material all the time, or do you want to be a thought leader yourself? In my opinion, and for our sellers, I want them to be the market leaders, and I want them to be the thought leaders. So that's why I said, you know, marketing with a question mark. I don't put out a whole lot of I don't reshare or retweet or things, you know, a lot of our marketing stuff. I like our marketing department does a great job. They don't need kind of my help there. But the interesting stuff and again, I'll show some details on how we find this stuff and all this information is the industry blogs and the industry discussions are extremely important. You know, instead of just, like I said, promoting yourself and your content and your company all the time, you want to be seen that you are in the industry, you are a market leader in that industry, and you're helping and creating content that is around not just yourself as a product company, but you're in that space. And maybe it's part of it is being, you know, on YTA kind of, you know, events and things like that as well. But it's being out there and being present more so than just talking about like your product. This is something that's a little, we talked about this in terms of how much I reshare or things like that out of our own marketing. One thing I do reshare are if we have a few thought leaders in our industry, or in our company, I should say, that are, you know, very well known in the industry, and or you know, they have a good voice. They have, you know, they have really good content to share. I will absolutely share and have a little piece on it. So instead of just sharing the blog and saying, hey, read this, I will always try and put a little blurb into it of, if you are interested in this, this, and this is a blog you can't miss. You know, if you are struggling with, you know, data acquisition for NG911, you need to read Matt Lewin's piece on how to affect addressing change in your organization. Very technical kind of blog, but again, it really helps our organization and, you know, and the clients that follow us. Again, I'm a big believer in this. You know, promote their brand as well from a colleague standpoint. Thank them for sharing content instead of just hitting like, and you know, I just like 15 different posts. I will reshare sometimes, and I will say flat out, thanks, Ryan. This is a great share. Everyone should read this, and it helps not only just me get the message out for them, but it also helps promote their brand and their industry management as well. So within content as well, keep an eye on your clients' websites, right? Keep an eye on what they're doing. I am a huge believer in, and again, a lot of the stuff we do is in the public space. So I can very simply go to a budget document for the city of Kingston, let's say, and see what they're focused on for 2021. And, you know, I will call things out sometimes and say, wow, what a great, you know, take a look at the budget for the city of Kingston next year. They are working on an open data portal that is going to allow this, and this to happen. lo and behold, they're using our tools and everything's great that way. But, you know, it allows you to find some different content. And I'm going to skip over this one a little bit, only just from the standpoint I've got a little demo I can give in this a little later. But there is an application out there, and it's called Feedly, and it is one of the most important tools you can use in social selling. It is an RSS, so a real simple syndication feed, and it just allows you to look for content and have that content delivered to you on a daily basis. This is my #1 app that I use every single day. It is the #1 website I go to every single day. And it's because instead of me going to CNN or the Toronto Star and reading the newspaper, I instead have subscribed to certain feeds that come to me. And for me, from trying to find content and where to find content and what to post, this is my #1 way to do that. It's incredible. And again, I've got a couple slides on that a little later. And this is my #2 way to find content, Google Alerts. This is such a great little tool that Google has. And it allows you to put in just any word you want, and it will send you a Google alert of every single day, what has crawled the internet, what has happened in the world that day on any topic you want. So for me, I'm interested in things that mention my name, Adam Fox. I'm interested in things that mention our company, Esri Canada, but I'm also interested in things like open data, digital transformation. I will actually name some of my clients. I've actually gone through and I've had Google alerts on the actual people that we are talking to if we're in a big RFP or things like that, just to get some interesting points. But there's tons of information that comes from Google alerts. And if you take anything away from today at all, the #8 and #9, Feedly and Google Alerts, are the #1 and 2 things to keep an eye on. So we talked about this, and
sorry,
I'll
Adam, I want to jump in there. There was a question that I think it goes back through here, and I'm just looking at it was from Kyoko, and she was just asking, how do you differentiate? So when do you post as Adam, the individual, versus Adam of Esri?
So to me, I basically consider myself, I am always Adam as Esri. For myself personally, I use LinkedIn and social selling as my tool to help engage in things with our clients. I do not post specifically on LinkedIn. I don't post almost anything kind of personal. I do share things on, to me, Twitter. I do a little bit of personal, and I'm a big, and my kids play lacrosse and hockey and things like that. So I will post a few things there. And the main reason I do that actually is I want people to know that I'm an actual person, that I'm not just a marketing bot that spits this stuff out, every day at 10:21, something comes out from Adam Fox. So I do post a little bit of personal stuff there. But I tend to, especially on LinkedIn to me is 99.9%, Esri focused. So it's me working for this great company and, helping promote our brand.
Perfect, thanks. And I just wanted to share something that Jane put in here, because this kind of goes on what you had. She said that in 1 week's time, or 2 weeks, I guess it was, her activity on LinkedIn, so she was a little bit more active, resulted in her social selling index, in which you talked about last week.
Mm-hmm.
I'll send that out. Her overall score increased from 51 out of 100 to 62 out of 100. Her industry
Incredible.
rank went from the top 16% to the top 8. And then her network rank went from the top 43 to the top 21%. So she figures she might be doing something right. So it's just taking some of the little tips that you've done and being able to be a little bit more active on there. So, if it's inspiring anybody to get onto LinkedIn a little bit more, thanks for sharing, Jane.
That is very impressive. No, that's great. Well, and it just shows, like you said, very small little incremental changes. I've said, people don't believe me, but I've told everyone, I spend roughly about 10 minutes, 15 minutes a day on LinkedIn. I usually, first thing in the morning, that's the first thing I look at before I open my email, take a quick, view of the world, what's going on. Usually, and I'll show you a little later, I actually post most of my content the night before, but it comes out the day of. And I'll show you some tools on that with Hootsuite. But that's just my typical thing. The kids go to bed, I find some content ready to post, and I hit click and I say send it to the world tomorrow at 10:21 or whatever it is. But those little tiny incremental changes are huge, and that's great. Those are some great numbers for sure. So we talked about this, and again, I'll fly through some of these slides to get to some of the good stuff. But there's a great VaynerMedia. A lot of people know, Gary Vee and some of the marketing content that they put out. But jab, 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 right hook, and that's all about do not go out there and throw all of your eggs in one basket of buy our product, buy our product, buy our product. Number one, you're going to turn away some clients potentially. You'll turn away people who don't like that in-your-face marketing. It's all about give first and receive later. And to me, the give first is finding other pieces of content that are really relevant to your industry and posting those and providing those as almost a free version of the industry knowledge that you can spell out there. And eventually good things come, right? Eventually people will come to you and say, hey, you are the expert in this field because of all the things you post. Can you help us on this side? And that's where, maybe there are some services or some product sales or other things happen. But like I said before, focus on your industry and thought leadership and focus on your clients. So this is the one I mentioned earlier today. I just posted this, about an hour ago, maybe 45 minutes ago or so. But to be timely, look for content that is out there that is happening today. This article, actually, if you actually click on this article's from 2018. So it's a few years old, but it is extremely timely with what's going on in the world right now, especially down in Texas in terms of, what they're doing with their network and their grid. And this is all about how to use, Esri tools and Esri maps and GIS to help them with their big data problems that they have. So here's the, excuse me, here's the topic I talked about earlier, the Google Alerts. As you can see here, this is just one. I grabbed this literally, I believe it was today or yesterday on the Google Alerts here. You can see that I've got it looking for anything that has the word Esri Canada in it. And every single day, it will send me an alert that says Esri Canada has been in the news 5 times. It's been in 18 times, 25 times. Maybe sometimes it's nothing. But at least gives me a day-by-day update on this. And sometimes the reason I look for this is some of our clients will post things like, we're using Esri Canada's great tools to do this. And like I said, I just want to promote, what they're doing. So I've got alerts for things like, our company. I've got alerts on our competition. I have alerts for specific clients if I'm looking for things that they're working on, specific words. So for me, social selling is one that I do. I do one for big data and artificial intelligence. We're doing a lot in that space. So to me, that's important to kind of know what that is. And I find some good gems out of that to be able to share, which is really cool. But again, the Google Alerts is incredible tool to use. So we talked about this earlier in terms of promoting colleagues. I just wanted to share some of this. There are times when I see that we've got a cool webinar or something happening. Here's Sue and Yeti Goldner and our good friend Jasmine Sohal, who've part of my group, and they're doing a webinar. And instead of just saying join the webinar, you put a little bit of personality behind it. And for me, it's here's top tips from 2 of the best in the industry. Usually you'll see them on stage in front of thousands. Today you can do it from the comfort of your own home, right? It throws a little bit more personality into it instead of, again, try and get away as much as you can from being that marketing bot. And here's another one of my employees, Brian Manhennick, fantastic gentleman who's doing a lot on social selling. And again, this is taking a resource blog that we put together, but he's asking questions of it. He's engaging, right? How do you and your organization are using, geospatial lens to be more, comfortable, accepted of the concept, et cetera, et cetera. So again, he's just promoting more of some of the blog stuff that we do. But we mentioned this is one of the slides from last week in terms of what our traditional buyers, long, especially in the B2B space, long sales cycle, RFPs, purchased by committees. We talked about this, another slide, and I've got a reason why I've put this up again for the second time. Sales cycles are increasing. So this little yellow Post-it note that I threw on top of it is, we need to continue to post content and be consistent and relevant. I think that is the key message here. If you get into a consistent and relevant kind of methodology of posting, people will come back to you. They will look to you as a resource. They will think of you as a thought leader, and they'll rely on your information, which to me is the most important thing. When I hear people, I'll meet people in meetings, and they'll say, "Oh, you're the one who posted that really cool article about X," and it's incredible when you hear that, because then your message is getting out there, and that people are engaging in the content, they're hearing and seeing it. And again, this was one of the other slides that I put up from last week. But the important part is, are we too late if we're at the RFP phase? We need to get ahead of the time when our buyer picks up the phone to finally call us. And I've used this example all the time when, I was, buying a Ford Explorer vehicle, right? I had it all booked and ready to go. I had the color picked. I knew what radio was in it. I knew everything before I picked up the phone and actually called the dealership. I wasn't calling the dealership for any advice whatsoever. I was calling to do, there was an actionable insight there. I was going to buy or lease a new vehicle. I didn't need any of their help. I did 95% of my buying journey was done online. And I don't think that's the case with our tools. So with Esri, I wouldn't say they're, 90%, but I would definitely say 60 to 70% of their journey is done online ahead of time before they call one of our sales associates. So that's really key to get your message and your information out there early. So I shared this last time I was on. I purposely held one of these posts out, the one on the top left, of the day that we gave this webinar. 1,500 views. It came in one day, 24 hours, which is, to me, I think is pretty cool. I thought it'd be interesting. I went back just the other day. I did this, I think, last night or the night before. And in 2 weeks' time now, it's up to 3,600 views. And the only reason I'm bringing this up is this is the power of LinkedIn. The power of LinkedIn is it is not a point in time that if you missed my feed from 3 weeks ago, you're never going to see my content ever again. It's the exact opposite. LinkedIn algorithm understands the relationship that you and I have. It understands how strong the relationship is. And it also logs when did you log in last. So if you logged in a couple days after I published this first one up in the top left and you missed it, that's fine. Because of the strength of our relationship, LinkedIn is going to push my content in your face a couple days or a week or so later. And that is the absolute biggest power of LinkedIn, in that the strength of your relationship is built on how much do you collaborate with others? How much do they collaborate with you? How much do you like and share? How much do they like and share? And how much do you comment on their stuff and how much do they comment on your stuff? So as you are commenting and sharing and liking and doing more in the platform, it is creating a stronger relationship between you and your the people who you have relationships with and connections with. And because your connection strength is stronger, they get force-fed your content. And that, I think, is the biggest differentiator between almost any other social platform, where if you go on Twitter today, you get to see what happened in the last 15 or 20 minutes. So that's it. And if you miss it, you miss it. You go in, I want everyone to do this when we're done this session today. Go into LinkedIn today, and I want you to scroll down for a little bit, like not get past the first, this is what happened an hour ago, 2 hours ago, 3 hours ago. You will see some of your content feeds jump from, excuse me, somebody posted an hour ago, somebody posted an hour and a half ago, somebody posted 3 hours ago, somebody posted 2 weeks ago. Where did that time frame go? That time frame went to the fact that LinkedIn thinks you have such a strong relationship with this person that you must see their content, which is, again, like I said, absolutely incredible. If you focus on getting the right content and the right people, you're laughing there. So we did, excuse me, I wanted to skip that one slide. We did talk about the social selling index and kind of what it is. I guess I can go back for 2 seconds and for some of the people who weren't on last week or 2 weeks ago. It is LinkedIn's algorithm on social selling and the abilities and content and engagement and things like that. But the 4 focus areas that we talked about last time was all about establish your professional brand. Use LinkedIn not as your personal resume to get a job, unless you are if you're looking for a job, LinkedIn's a great spot for it. But if you have a job and you're happy in your job and you want to use LinkedIn as a social selling tool, then you need to focus on the other stuff here. You need to focus on, number one, create your professional brand. So we talked about that last time. But this time we're talking about how to engage with insights. And engage with insights is all about finding content and producing content. So we talked about this. This is another slide from last time, but I wanted to show, how do we know who to find? And the great part about this is LinkedIn helps us find that. So when you start searching for companies, if you have strong connections as you go, the best part about LinkedIn is a great example is myself. If I go to a brand new client right now, sight unseen, you name any municipality in Canada, I should say, not Ontario, because I've got a lot of connections in Ontario. But if I was to go to Quebec, the first 10 people that it will suggest that I should know will be the CIO, the GIS manager, the data compliance officer, sometimes the CEO or the CAO or whoever it is. It accumulates that content for me and puts that front and center. I didn't have to do anything for it. It tells me right there. There's Joe Smith, there's Sally Smith, and there's Steve Peterson, and there's their names right there for me. And that's because if you continue to have strong content but strong connections, LinkedIn again looks at your connections, looks at the titles of those connections, and tries to help you find people like that. So we did talk about this in terms of social selling screens and kind of what the social selling index is. This is where again I focus on all the time. To me is I want to grow my numbers in Engage with Insights. And it's tough. I will tell you flat well that, even though as much content that I put out there, I sometimes are in the 21 range out of 25. Sometimes I'm in the 16. It bounces all over the place. And again, let's be honest, LinkedIn wants you to be part of their platform. They want you on there all the time. So part of that, is they're trying to push you to be on there more. I'm not. Like I mentioned, I'm in there 5, 10, 15 minutes max a day. But I am consistent from the standpoint of how much I am on there. To me, this is more important to me than internal emails. That's why I do it first thing in the morning. It is that important that I get a read on the industry. I get a read on our clients. I hear what they're saying. I see what they're posting, and then I contribute and post something as well. Then once I'm done all of that, then I go into my regular day, like everyone does, go to Outlook and start answering all your emails. So we talked about this last week, and again, I just kept this in just because I know some of these slides will be shared in the video thing on the profile brand. But finding the right people and looking out for examples. Again, I talked about some of the people who, what we have here in terms of our account levels and where we look for the actual people. But this is like I said, this is the most important tool that I use. This is called Feedly. And what I'm going to do, let me just see if I can, 2 seconds here. Hopefully this works. I'm going to ask if you can, there we go. Can you see my screen, or is it just still the,
No, we can see I think it's your Feedly screen.
Okay, perfect. So if I'll just bring this back here. You can see what I like to focus on in my life. I don't have to show you all of these things, but here's where literally my name pops up. Google alerts for Adam Fox, right? So if I go and click on this will, we all know what it's going to be. NHL defenseman. But the funny part is, my name has popped up in the past, and yours will too in the internet. In terms of, Adam Fox gave a talk at a conference or something like that. So it is interesting to see kind of your name come up in lights once in a while. But to me, there's a bunch of different blogs I go to. Esri Canada, like I said, this is where I see, exactly, like here's a great thing here. I don't even know, this happened 42 minutes ago. I have no idea what this is. Driving green infrastructure implementation through advocacy and supportive policy by a landscape architect. Fantastic. I don't know what this is. I will go and click on this, and if I find it interesting, I will post. But these are just going after and grabbing, Fed Tech Magazine, GovLoop, a news atlas on new technology, Statescoop. These are all incredible blogs and industry regs that I read that are all, and again, like I said, I don't go to these websites and read them. This content comes to me. I can scroll through this, and as fast as I'm going through here, here's a good one here, how open technology is helping the public sector innovate. Great. I can read that. I can read this one, and as quickly as you can go through these feeds. And as I mentioned, I've got ones just on our clients. So if I'm looking for very, very specific information, there's stuff on sales. I do things on, I look for things, like I said, on lacrosse and jokes and other things, some personal interests. But again, to me, one of the best things you can do for yourselves in terms of finding content that is outside of your realm, that is outside of your company blog, this is the easiest tool to use. Again, it's called Feedly. It's a free login. I just use my Google login, and it brings all the information in. And you can at any time add any feed you want. You literally just type in a web address, or you type in the company address, and boom, it will come up to you here. And again, like I said, I can't show you here, but I've got it on my iPhone as well. And that's the #1 thing I use on a daily basis to find new and interesting content. And for anything in any industry, there is, again, its job is to crawl the internet and find information for you. So this is another great one. I know we're coming to the top of the hour here, so I want to give you a couple more tips on this. This is another great one. And I told you in terms of when do I post? Well, you guys don't know this, but I post most of my content anywhere between 11 p.m. and 1 a.m. every night. What I do, though, is I set it to be very specific times. So Hootsuite, again, free plugin. You can use it direct out of Chrome or Firefox, or you can actually use the Hootsuite app. And again, I just use my Google login. I connect my 2 social accounts that I use for work. So there's my Adam Fox Twitter and there's my Adam Fox LinkedIn. And I then go and I create an actual time on when this happens. So I can find anything I want. And if actually, let's go back to this right now. I'm going to find that, where was that great article right here? Driving Green, implementation through advocacy and support policy. Looks pretty cool. I don't know what this is, so I'm going to, because I'm doing it live, I'm going to be a very quick, oh, that's it. I don't know exactly. This is about our green roof. So I'm going to copy this, and I can't see my other screen. So just give me a sec here because there's Hootsuite there. And in Hootsuite, you guys can see my Hootsuite okay? Does it come up okay?
We can see it.
Yeah, okay, perfect. So I can go and say, I'm going to schedule a post. Where did it go? 1 second, that's today. Yeah, there we go. Create a post. And I can say, do both my LinkedIn and my Twitter. And here's my post. I'm going to say, that's our green roof. And hashtag Esri Canada. And there's the link. Oh, sorry, I put the wrong, sorry about this. I'm going to clear. I'll do this one more time. From here. There we go. I put it in the wrong spot. And I'm going to say that's our green roof at Esri Canada. And I don't have to do anything more. I'll put the link in there. It goes in, tells me what it's going to look like. This is what it's going to look like on LinkedIn. This is what it's going to look like on Twitter. I can post it right now, or I can say, and I'm going to put this out at 1 o'clock today. So I'm going to post, and here's a cool feature too. Auto schedule picks the time that LinkedIn and Twitter think that your content and your the people that you connect with, your connections, are best able to see this. It will not post this at 4 a.m. for you. So if I hit this at 1 a.m. in the morning, it will pop on, let's say, at 9:07 tomorrow, this is going to go out. So I can put a get auto schedule here and just put this out. I'm not going to go through all this right now and live here, but I'll just put it out anyway. Schedule, and there we go. So at 1 o'clock today, you're going to see in my Twitter and on my LinkedIn that these 2 articles are going to come out real quick about, hey, that's our green roof at Esri Canada. So I use this a lot. You can tell I actually haven't used it this week because you can see that I don't have anything logged in this week. But I will do this specifically when I found really cool content that I want to promote. And literally it's, 11 o'clock at night, I'm watching the hockey game or something like that. And I will put this out and say, put this out tomorrow at 10:05. Put this in. And I always put some really odd times too. I never say every single day at 10 o'clock a.m. I put it in the, 11:41 or something like that. They do talk about the best time to find and the best time to post specifically for a business is early in the morning, later in the afternoon, kind of 2 to 4. And then oddly, one of the best times to post on LinkedIn is Sunday night. Sunday night is when so many executives, and so especially in our world, the IT world, they're getting ready for their week. They're looking at their calendar. They're on their iPhone. They're on their iPad or whatever, and they're poking around in things. And they actually say there's a lot of engagement that happens around 6 to 10 p.m. on Sunday night, which is a little odd. But so to me, this is a big one. As you can see here, this week, I posted a couple things that week. And again, that's why this allows me to only do this for 5 to 10 minutes a day. By using these tools, by using Google Alerts, by using Feedly, and by using Hootsuite, if you can become experts, and again, I just showed you that's all I do in Hootsuite. I'm sure there are amazing, very cool features on that platform. I don't use them. I literally just say, find me the best time to publish my content, put it to Twitter, put it to LinkedIn, and that's kind of the end of it. And we did talk about this. This is one of the last slides I have here in terms of building relationships. This was interesting because I did get a lot of questions since our last webinar on this from people of who should I be looking for? Not just who should I accept, because people are going to find you and they're, you're going to accept them or you won't. I'm a big believer in accept everyone. Unless you feel that it's a really, telemarketer kind of, issue where you just don't want to be hassled. I'm a big believer in accept everyone because I want everyone to consume my content. But more importantly, and I've told some of the people who have just recently started Esri, I've said the first thing to do is get your profile up to date, get it ready. Then start producing some content, finding content. And again, when I say producing, you'll notice if you go to any of my feeds, I don't produce a whole lot. You just saw in 5 minutes, that I'm going to share some content with the world that showed our green roof and some cool architectural stuff that's happening. I didn't, you saw how I found that information. I did not in any way go and look for it. I did not build it. I did not create it myself. So the key piece there is find the content, the small stuff that you can find however you want, and publish that. But so to me, the tenets of kind of getting yourself into more of a social selling game is, number one, get your profile on par and get that really stepped up in terms of a profile that is really professional and shows yourself off. Then start producing some content. Don't go looking for just try and build relationships before you've done the work. In my opinion, do the work is spend a couple days, a week, 2 weeks, whatever, producing, finding, or building some content or sharing and putting some stuff out there. Then you can start going and looking for people. And then we mentioned this as well last week, and I showed you a couple of tools a couple of weeks ago of how to find people. And again, like I said, LinkedIn does a lot of the work for you. You go and look at a company, and it automatically says, these are the top, your first 2 or 3 pages are the people who you should be looking for. The last thing I get a lot of questions on are LinkedIn groups. Now, this is where you could spend a lot of time. And this is where I will fully admit I don't. I poke around in these groups. These are just 3 of the screens. I couldn't share it all with you, how many groups. I think I'm part of maybe 40, 50 groups. Some of them are kind of inactive, so that's why I just don't take myself off the list. Some of them are extremely active, and I do like going in there and seeing it. Depending on what you sell, depending on your product, depending on your pitch, depending on your service, you'll find your own kind of niche here in the LinkedIn groups. But I will say there are some gems in here. It's kind of hard sometimes not to get down into the weeds. You'll hear you'll see some people, you'll hear some people slagging your product sometimes. And you'll say, oh, I'd never use Esri for this. I always use this product. I'm never one to follow up with that person right away and use that as an engagement tactic for selling and to jump on that person and say, hey, well, why don't you use our product? Why don't you do this? To me, that's kind of more market research, market insights. But I do get some good content from the LinkedIn groups. I just personally, I've said this to many people, I just don't have the time to I could spend my entire day bouncing around to all of these different groups. You can see some of these groups have, 269,000 members. There's great content there. I just, I spend my time very, very little in kind of the groups. I like being part of them. I do see some good feeds out of them. And I'm sure for you, I'm sure some of it you'd get a lot out of it. But again, it can be a time suck. So just do that accordingly. So to me, I know we've had a couple of questions while we're going, and I know we're coming to the top of the hour. I don't know if there's anything else. I haven't been looking at the feeds if there's any other questions coming on, but I'm glad to answer any kind of questions or anything else. And like I said in the last as well, if anybody, I'm pretty passionate about this stuff. If anybody wants to reach out to me and just connect and chat and find out, if you have some questions or are looking for some advice or want to throw some, like I said, I'm not an expert per se, but I've got I love hearing from everyone who's using it, because especially the comment earlier about somebody who used their SSI and really, by doing just some small little iterative things, really bumped their numbers up. Your goal, if you want to use LinkedIn as a selling tool, as a social selling tool and improving your profile and things, your goal should be try and get in the top 5% in your network and try to get in the top 5% in your industry. If you can be in that world, you're by far, you're 95% better than everyone else who's, using this as kind of like a resume. So.
I'll just jump on. There were no other questions in the chat, but I wanted to see if anybody right now did have any questions come up as they, as you're as you're going through here. And the other thing is, I know some people were not on the call last time, and what I'll do is send around the link for that recording as well. And then we can get any of the slides. As Adam said, please feel free to catch up with him or connect with him and even ask him any questions. You know what? He was actually quite excited that people connected with him and asked him questions. So I wouldn't worry about doing that and thinking, okay, am I bugging him and connecting?
Not at all.
Because it's a great way to learn and be able to connect. But were there any questions? I just wanted to see here whether somebody, there was one in the chat here. You know, actually, Larry even put it's mind-opening for him. And you know what, it was kind of interesting from our perspective. We went in and looked at a few things as well, just to make some changes. You know, even the Hootsuite, we've been using that ourselves. It's actually quite easy to be able to set up. It is free. So if you can take advantage of a lot of the free tools, that is always great. I don't know.
Well, and that's a really good point too. Like everyone always asks and says, "Oh, I assume you're on the LinkedIn Premium and you pay for Premium Hootsuite and you pay for this." And every single tool that we've talked about is 100% free. You know, so the link. This is every one of you guys can do what we're doing here with regular LinkedIn, with regular Hootsuite, with regular Feedly. All of those tools are completely free. Yeah.
Okay. No questions. Adam, I think you must have covered everything. Either that or everybody's in awe and they're rushing through. I did put in the chat, Adam had talked about, and then Jane had just put in there, the social selling index. I had put that in the link there, and the same thing is I will send that out again. It is one of those tools that you can go on and just sort of see where you are on the scale. Do not get discouraged when you look at it, because Adam even indicated, you know what, you can change. But when Jane threw it in there, hey, in 2 weeks time, just being able to post a few things, her score changed. And I don't know, maybe if you gamify it and you look at it from that perspective, it's exciting to be able to make those changes. But we thank everybody for joining us today. I know we're kind of at the top of the hour here. I will send the recording again to everybody through the link, and then we'll go through if there's any other points. If anybody has any questions, please do not hesitate to reach out to myself or connect with Adam, likewise on LinkedIn. We have a few things. I know next week, it's amazing that next week is March already. So I don't know where the time has gone by, as we enter the first year of quarantine. So we're going into March. We have a lunch and learn session next Thursday it is on building thriving teams, and same thing, it's open to everybody. This one is on moving from boss to mentor/coach. So that's Thursday at 12 o'clock. And then towards the end of the month, we actually have a totally different session on risk management and being able to understand kind of what's happening in the cybersecurity world from an insurance perspective. So feel free to join that. Also, if you're interested in taking part in some of our peer groups and you're a non-member, reach out to Ryan, who's also in there, or myself, and you can attend a peer group complimentary and just kind of get an idea of what we're about. Right now we realize it's a lonely road out there trying to grow your business, and it's great to have a community and learn from a lot of fantastic people. You look at the aspect that Adam is actually in sales and he's running a marketing session here, and it's because he's looking at it from a different perspective, and sometimes that's how you can look at different things. So it's a great tool to learn from other people. We thank you very much for joining us today, and wish you a fantastic day. So take care, everyone. Thanks again, Adam, and we really appreciate all your help and all your insights.
Great.
Take
Thanks
care.
Thanks very much. That's great. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Thanks a lot, Adam.
All right. Bye. Have a great day.
Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, thanks.